retired Sergeant Major David Tuttle. I am the Commander and Chaplain of the American Legion Nathan M. Webster Post 248 here in Groveland. As you all know, we are in a very different setting because of the coronavirus and are unable to gather as usual for our Memorial Day ceremony. So we have decided to have veterans do readings for this Memorial Day at veterans memorials in the town, ending at our cemetery with taps. But first I want to commend all doctors, nurses, police, fire, and EMTs personnel that are putting themselves on the line, aiding and treating people during this pandemic time. Thank you. Memorial Day. Courage, devotion, patriotism, sacrifice. There are still people who know what these mean and believe in what they stand for. They stand for America. At this time of year, which is brimming with life, we traditionally gather to honor the brave men and women who gave their lives in the service of the United States of America. Throughout our history, this country has been blessed with sons and daughters who have known the value of freedom and have answered the call to serve today. We honor those who paid the ultimate price.
Remember our military, lest we forget. The average age of the service member in the U.S. military is 19 years of age. They are a recent high school graduate and under normal circumstances are considered by society as half adult and half kid. Not old enough to buy a beer, but old enough to die for their country. They have trouble spelling, thus letter writing is a pain for them. But they can field strip a rifle in 2 minutes and reassemble it in less time in the dark. They can recite to you the nomenclature of a machine gun or a grenade launcher and use either one effectively if they must. They dig foxholes and latrines and can apply first aid just like a professional. They can march until they are told to stop or stop when they are told to march. They obey orders instantly and without hesitation, but they are not without spirit or individual dignity. They are self-sufficient. They have 2 sets of fatigues. They wash one, they wear the other. They keep their canteens full, their feet dry, and they sometimes forget to brush their teeth, but never forget to clean their rifles. They can cook their own meals, mend their own clothes, and fix their own hurts. If they are thirsty, or if you are thirsty or hungry, they will share their water and food with you. They'll even split their ammunition with you in the midst of battle when you run low. They have learned to use their hands like weapons and weapons like they were their hands. They can save your life or they can take it because that's their job. They will often do twice the work of a civilian, draw half the pay, and still find it ironic, an ironic humor in it all. They have seen much suffering and death, more than they should have in their short lifetimes. They have wept in public and in private for friends who have fallen in combat and are unashamed. They feel every note of the national anthem vibrate through their bodies while at rigid attention and while tempering the burning desire to square away those around them who haven't bothered to stand or remove their headgear or even stop talking. Just as did their fathers, grandfathers, and great-grandfathers, they are paying the price for our freedom. They have asked nothing in return except for our friendship and understanding. Now we even have, I'm sorry, I lost my place. Please stop for a moment and say a prayer for our troops and all our services, and that one day there will be no more wars. This is the least we can do. Thank you. reading called Honor Their Sacrifice. For many Americans, Memorial Day signals the beginning of summer, the end of school, trips to the river or lake, and of course barbecues. Memorial Day, however, when fully considered, means more than time off and fun. It is a time to remember our freedoms and the lives lost in the defense of those freedoms. Memorial Day, simply put, is a day of remembrance for those who have died fighting for our nation. We are fortunate to live in a country where some folks still pay their respects to honor the men and women who have paid the ultimate price for our freedoms. To us veterans, Memorial Day is the most sacred and solemn day of the year when we pay tribute to those who have died defending our freedom in this country. It's something we hold very dear, and we take great pride in making sure those honors are properly carried out. A lot of people do not know the proper flag etiquette of the day. On Memorial Day, the flag is to be flown at half staff until noon, and then it is full staff until sunset. The standard flag rules say to take the flag down at sunset unless you have it properly illuminated, in which case you can leave it up all night. When raising the flag to half staff, first raise it quickly to full staff, and then slowly down to half staff. In an attempt to bring the solemnity back to Memorial Day remembrances, Congress passed the National Moment of Remembrance Act in 2000, asking all citizens to pause wherever they are for a moment of silence at 3 p.m. on Memorial Day, 3 p.m. on Memorial Day, to remember and honor those who have died in service of our country. While Memorial Day is a holiday for all Americans, we all owe a debt of gratitude to the brave men and women who have given their all to guarantee our freedom. It is important that we honor our fallen military members. They made the ultimate sacrifice when our government asked them to. These brave men and women went into situations where they knew they could lose their lives. While all veterans have done this at times of conflict, the ones we remember on this day did not return home to their families. Enjoy this holiday weekend, but remember why Memorial Day is a holiday. Take a minute and teach the next generation about the proud service and the ultimate sacrifice of those who came before them. Thank you.
Flanders Field. In Flanders Field, the poppies blow between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky, the larks still bravely singing fly. Scarce heard among the guns below, we are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow. Loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Field. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders Field.
Memorial Day. When Americans rode the landing craft before storming the beaches at Guadalcanal, Anzio, Normandy, Iwo Jima, Okinawa, and many other places we had never heard of before, and when they fought in Europe, the Philippines, Korea, Vietnam, or in the desert sands of Southeast Asia, most were scared to death. But that did not stop them from attacking America's enemies bravely and without hesitation. They fought, and many died. They did not die so that we could become complacent, nor did they die so that when we, the living, reached a single obstacle, we should quit. They died knowing that we will go on, defending their actions, defending history, and defending what they gave up their tomorrows for. Let's remember what Abraham Lincoln said, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain. And what President Kennedy said, ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. And lastly, remember a gravestone far across the Pacific which states, "Tell them I gave all my tomorrows so that they could have today." Let us remember all of our heroes in cemeteries all across America and all over the world. Let's remember that they gave all their tomorrows so that we could have today. Thank you, and God bless America. On this Memorial Day, we have honored the veterans who served in World War I and World War II. Please take a moment and join me in a moment of remembrance for those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in Korea and Vietnam.
On the nightly news broadcast from faraway places, I see a platoon of American faces, so dedicated yet so young, adults before their time. In the back of my mind, I imagine each one. I wonder about their families and the burdens they bear. I can't help but consider the cost of freedom, one American life. He's the boy next door with the twinkle in his eye, maybe the hometown hero who caught the game-winning fly. Now, or was in years gone by, in the middle of a war, his courage has been or is being tested now. He might have been a pilot, or on the front line as an infantryman, or doing administrative or supply, each job oh so important, but some paid the ultimate price, one American life. She's the girl from church that everyone loved. She may have had a voice of an angel, a special gift from God. She was Mom's pride and Dad's joy. It's hard to envision what she may have endured. She's one American life. They're a dad or a mom, loving and missing their families. He may have been a teacher teaching the art of war. She may have nursed the wounded. Some gave their lives on many distant shores. They are one American life. There isn't a community that hasn't been touched through the years by war or pain of war. Let us not take for granted the liberty we enjoy. Freedom isn't free. The cost is oh so high. One American life. Let those who have served live on in our memories. Let us pray for peace for the families affected by war, and always remember the cost is one American life. Amongst the dead may have been the person who would have discovered the cure for cancer or some other deadly disease, the composer who may have surpassed Mozart, the chaplain who would have become a missionary or evangelist. It is still one American life. Millions have died, fathers, mothers, sons, and daughters, all with the dream of peace. Remember those who died often alone, victims of war's ravage, whose resting place is an unmarked grave or buried on foreign soil. Still one American life. Many have also survived the cruelty of war, to carry with them the memories which they desire not to carry. Let us remember those who served and are now serving in our armed forces. Regardless of what their title or job, we must not forget the cost is still one American life.
Hello, Groveland. As we experience a new way to live and connect each day, we try our hardest to maintain a sense of normalcy. Even with the global pandemic, we are still able to honor our national holidays and the veterans those holidays are for. Even though this Memorial Day will be different from those in the past, we gather here virtually and in our yards to remember those veterans that have died for this great country. Every crisis has new heroes. During the 9/11 attacks, they were the first responders running into burning and crumbling buildings as everyone else ran out. Now, during the coronavirus pandemic, the most visible heroes are the healthcare professionals. who are saving others and risking their own lives while doing so. These heroes have much in common with the people that we honor today, America's fallen veterans. They are the men and women who have sacrificed their own lives so others could live. They are both elite and ordinary. They are elite in the sense of character. Giving your life so others can live is the ultimate definition of selflessness. They are ordinary in the fact that they represent the diverse fabric of our country. They are rich and poor, male and female. They come from every ethnicity and background. In short, they looked a lot like any one of us. As we celebrate the selfless and untiring performance of healthcare workers during the COVID-19 pandemic, it brings to mind the military medics, doctors, and nurses who sacrificed their lives while treating others on the battlefield, and also the other professions many in the military perform. One such hero was Mr. Wayne Leroy Killian, 89, of Groveland, Mass. Beloved husband of Janine, passed away on Thursday, July 18, 2019, at his home surrounded by his family. He will be deeply missed. Born in East Earl, Pennsylvania, he was the son of late John and Daisy Killian. Raised and educated in New Holland, Pennsylvania, Wayne was a graduate of New Holland High School. He then attended the Naval Academy of Music and continued his education at Boston University, where he earned a bachelor's degree in music and a master's degree in secondary education. An honorable discharge, a veteran of Korean War, Wayne proudly served his country as a member of the United States Navy Band, third-class musician, from 1950 to 1954. His love and passion for the Navy continued throughout his life until the end. Wayne started his teaching career as a band director in Somersworth, New Hampshire, and Pentucket Regional High School. He then moved to Masconomet Regional High School, where he spent 23 years as Fine and Performing Arts Department Chair. His devotion to music education was something he cherished each and every day. Uncle Wayne loved his students, and they loved him in return. Another hero is Edward R. Modlish, Sr., 96, resident of Groveland, Mass., formerly of Springfield and Longmeadow, Mass. Died peacefully surrounded by his loving family December 19, 2019. Edward was born on October 5, 1923, son of George and Anelia in Westfield, Mass. Hardworking from a young age, Edward founded Superior Plumbing and Heating in Springfield, Mass., and Orchard Supply in Indian Orchard, Mass. In mid-1950s. He was a proud, decorated Army veteran serving as an artillery specialist in the South Pacific in World War II, and is a Bronze Star recipient. He met and married his wife Jane in 1949 and resided in Springfield with Jane and their family for over 30 years before retiring to Longmeadow, Mass. Edward and Jane celebrated 60 years of marriage in 2009, just prior to Jane's death. Ed and Jane moved to Nichols Village in Groveland, where they spent his last 13 years. He was a beloved member of the community and will be missed by many of his friends. Ed was an avid outdoorsman and sportsman, sharing his love of nature with his daughter and son. He was a beloved and devoted husband, father, and grandfather. While in Groveland, he could often be found in the stands at Pentucket High School in West Newbury or Whittier Tech, cheering on his grandchildren and their teammates. If they were with us today, their skills might still be benefiting us during the current crisis. But not all heroes working the COVID-19 pandemic are in one industry. Grocers, first responders, delivery workers, drive-through restaurant employees are just a few of the people we rely on to provide pivotal service to the society while risking their own safety. The military also has heroes in every occupational field. Truck drivers, cooks, and administrative clerks have all paid the ultimate price. At sea, on land, and in the air, military service requires great risk. This is yet another legacy that these heroes leave behind, a legacy that includes their sons, their daughters, grieving parents, grandparents, and friends. Approximately 1 million men and women of the U.S. military have lost their lives in defense of the nation since the founding of this great republic. Not all have died from enemy fire. Some have died from disease that has too often festered around war zones. Oftentimes, death and disease and accidents outnumbered casualties caused by enemy weapons. During the Spanish-American War, 60 soldiers of the 24th Infantry Regiment volunteered to serve as nurses. 36 of them would later die of yellow fever or malaria. A generation later, the flu would kill nearly 16,000 U.S. soldiers in France during World War I. Another 30,000 American service members died in stateside camps. These men and women could have isolated safely in their homes, but they knew they had an important job to do, a mission to accomplish. They were on a mission to serve. Even when the enemy is an invisible virus or a microscopic germ, the sacrifices made are just as meaningful. The U.S. military has already lost service members to COVID-19. This Memorial Day, as we continue to honor those who fell for us in battle, let us also pause to remember those who have also sacrificed their lives while serving. May they rest in peace with eternal gratitude. And if you could, decorate your front doors with patriotic colors and flags this Memorial Day. It would be a nice way to show that you remember the meaning of Memorial Day. Thank you.
Whenever veterans have a memorial service of any type, we always do our best to always remember the POW MIA, because they're not forgotten by us.
So many fates are left unknown. So many rumors that are abound. So many families ask the question, when will the answer be found? So many years have come and gone. Sometimes hope is hard to keep. There's some who feel there's none, and in some, it's buried deep. The pain is not knowing how to put the loved ones to rest when there is no way to prove they have passed the final test. But no matter where, no matter what the answers, we can't leave this cause alone until each and every one of them is found and brought back home. And we're doing this in the cemetery to represent all those that are missing. We thank you for your support, Groveland.
Memorial Day. As you drive into all cemeteries, you will notice flags upon the graves. Know these flags represent a few of the true American brave. They fought for their country as man has through all of time. Except that these soldiers lying here fought for your country and mine. As we all are gathered here to pay them our respect, let's pass this word to others. It's what they would expect. I'm sure that they would do it if it were me or you, to show we did not die in vain, but for the red, white, and blue. Let's pass on to our children and to those who never knew what these soldiers died for. It's the least we can do. Let's not forget their families, great pain they had to bear. Losing a son, daughter, father, or mother, husband, or wife, they need to know we still care. No matter which war they fought, on the day that they died, we can stand remembering those flags, still filled with American pride. So as the bugle plays out taps this evening, with its sweet and airy sound, pray for the soldiers lying in those graves. They lay in sacred hallowed ground. Take home with you a sense of pride. You were here at our memorial service, celebrating the way Americans should, remembering those who served and gave their life for you and I. We're coming to the close of our Memorial Day ceremony, and I would like to acknowledge and thank those that participated in this service. First of all, First Sergeant David McMullen, retired United States Army. Lance Corporal Catherine Young, United States Marine Corps, retired. And Gunnery Sergeant James Green, United States Marine Corps, retired. And along with that there, we appreciated that Mr. Mike Wood from the Board of Selectmen has said a few words in memory of our veterans. In closing, we're going to offer a prayer of remembrance to our veterans and also end with taps. Almighty God, we want to first thank you for the country that we are so blessed to live in. But as you know, it has come at a very high cost. So many lives have been lost to preserve our way of life. Help us to never forget and continue to honor those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice. We thank you for those who are now serving on active duty, as many are serving in harm's way. We ask your protection on them and their families that maintain the home front, as that is no easy task. We thank you for the privilege of living in America, and may God continue to bless America. Amen. Raise hand. Huh. Order. Hubs.
In Groveland, as we stand here, we respect the taps. We should also respect our cemetery. Our cemetery holds a Medal of Honor winner, and this is hallowed ground. And once again, we thank you for your support.